Power outages don't give warnings. They hit hard, fast, and usually when you're least ready. And while your neighbors fumble through drawers looking for half-dead batteries, you'll already be covered if you've got these 8 blackout lifesavers from Costco and Dollar Tree. We're not talking about fancy gear or expensive solar backups. This is practical, budget-level prepping, the kind that actually works when the grid's down and the cold creeps in. Sometimes, it's the $5 flashlight or the $1.25 thermal gear that gets you through the night. They could be worth more than gold. Let's walk through the list and make sure when the next blackout hits, you're not the one left in the dark. Number 1. Emergency food buckets. When the grid dies and stores go dark, nothing matters more than shelf-stable calories, the kind you don't have to cook fancy or risk fresh food spoilage. That's where emergency food buckets come in. Costco's ReadyWise buckets are a prime example. Grab one once, and you've secured days or even weeks of sustenance that's ready to go when nothing else is. Costco currently offers a ReadyWise 150U serving emergency food bucket, which boasts a 25-year shelf life. These buckets contain freeze-dried and dehydrated meals, ranging from pasta Alfredo, cheesy macaroni, teriyaki rice, potato pot pie, to apple cinnamon cereal meals you just add water and eat. The calorie count? A full bucket packs about 25,280 calories, enough to cover several people through days of blackout. The cost? Around $79.99 USD for the 150 serving model online, though in some Costco locations it may run lower. What makes this a must-have in blackout prep is not just the calories, but the convenience. You don't need refrigeration, you don't need to forage or rely solely on canned food, and you don't need to prep long hours. Just add water, stir, and eat. In situations where cooking fuel or electricity is limited, that ease becomes a survival multiplier. Storage is simple. Keep the bucket sealed, cool, and dry. You want minimal temperature swings to preserve the long shelf life. Once opened, reuse only what you need and reseal best you can. These buckets are built to be durable containers with handles, so you can move them if needed. Caution: one food bucket doesn't replace a complete food strategy. You'll still want rotation, supplemental fresh or canned food, if available, and water reserves. Also, the taste and texture of freeze-dried meals is utilitarian. Don't expect gourmet, but view this as emergency fuel. Because when the blackout stretches for days or weeks, having a fully stocked, ready-to-eat food bucket is the difference between scrambling in the dark and staying ahead. Next, we'll look at bulk water containers and hydration systems, because food is nothing without water to activate it. Number 2, large water containers. When blackout strikes, food alone won't keep you alive. Water is your fragile lifeline, and that's where large water containers step in. Bulk jugs, barrels, or stackable containers from places like Costco become priceless when tap systems fail, power goes out, or municipal pumps stop. Costco often carries multi-gallon water jugs and bulk water packs, making them a go-to for preppers. These containers cost more upfront than single bottles, but their value skyrockets when stores run dry and water delivery becomes impossible. You're paying for security gallons of stored clean water ready when everything else fails. In a real blackout scenario, each person needs at least 1 gallon per day for drinking and hygiene. So, a 5-gallon jug covers a small family for days without resupply. The solid, rigid containers reduce leakage risk and allow stacking. Combine with smaller bottles, and you build flexibility and redundancy. When choosing containers, opt for food-grade plastics, HDPE, BPA-free, and UV-resistant if possible. Screw-top lids, spouts, or faucet attachments make dispensing easy without contamination. Always seal and label with a fill date and rotate stock every 6-12 months. Over time, plastics can degrade, so keep backups or monitor containers for stress signs. One smart trick: fill partially to leave an air gap. Then freeze that block of ice doubles as a cold source in your cooler. Over time, it melts, replenishing your supply. Another trick: keep a few jugs in your car or a remote location as mobile backups. Water barrels or stackable tanks, 30-55 gallons, are also ideal for home base. In a long blackout, you use less energy to pump or gravity feed water when needed. If you've sealed your home and limited drafts, That stored water becomes part of your buffer system, not just survival stash. Once your water security is in place, your next challenge is ensuring food is useful. You need ways to cook, warm, and rehydrate using no or minimal power. Next up, energy-efficient cook gear and backup stoves that make your food bucket useful, not just theoretical. Number 3, portable power stations. When the blackout hits and the grid goes dead, portable power stations become your lifeline. These aren't just big batteries, they're compact, multi-output energy hubs that can run lights, charge phones, power medical devices, and keep critical systems alive. In survival mode, having stored watts means you're not scrambling in the dark. Portable power stations come in many sizes and capacities. The mid-range ones, 300 watt-hours to 1,000 watt-hours, typically cost $300 to $700 USD depending on features, while large models, 1,000 watt-hours to 2,000 watt-hours, push past $700 into the premium bracket. Premium models even go above that for very heavy use. When you see a model on sale for $400, $500 that gives serious watt-hours, that's a prepper window you don't want to miss. The core of any good portable station: battery type, watt-hour capacity, output wattage, and port variety. High-end models use LiFePO, 4 chemistry for longer cycle life. Others use lithium-ion to reduce cost and weight. You'll want AC outlets, DC ports, USB-A divided by C, and ideally pass-through charging. Some models also act as UPS, uninterruptible power supply, switching in under milliseconds when grid power fails. In a blackout scenario, you'll use it this way: charge in advance while power's still on, then deploy it to power LED lighting, charge phones, run routers, or small appliances like a mini-U fridge or fan. Always balance load versus watt capacity so you don't drain it too fast, because every watt you save adds hours of survivability. When buying, test the unit before you need it. Check output stability, temperature under load, actual runtime versus claimed specs. And buy it before demand spikes. These units become scarce fast once blackouts are expected. Once your power strategy is locked, the next layer is an efficient cook and heating gear that uses minimal energy so your stored watts last longer. Up next, stoves, fuel cells, and heat capture methods that turn stored energy into usable survival heat. Number 4, medical bulk packs. When disaster strikes, injuries and infections spike, and the difference between survival and collapse often lies in your medical supply buffer. That's why medical bulk packs from Costco, think large first aid kits, multi-person trauma kits, are among the most critical items you can grab before the blackout. Costco currently offers big first aid kits with 217 pieces under its Ever Ready brand. In normal times, that's a solid deal. In crisis, it becomes a lifeline. These bulk packs include bandages, gauze, antiseptic wipes, tape, trauma dressings, splints, cold packs, gloves, and even basic medications. What sells people is the scale. Instead of a tiny kit for one person, you're equipping an entire family or small community with a single purchase. The price is usually far more cost-effective per unit than buying many small kits separately. One example, Costco's Ever Ready 217-piece kit is sold under general first aid inventory. In a long blackout, help may not arrive. You'll need to treat cuts, burns, sprains, and wounds when medical facilities are overloaded or unreachable. That's where bulk medical packs shine. They give you flexibility, redundancy, and more margin for error than minimal kits. Wrapper packs, extra dressings, and multiple supplies mean you won't run dry at night. Always store these kits in moisture-proof, sealed containers. Use silica gel or desiccants to reduce humidity damage. Label each kit with opened and tested dates. Rotate contents, especially medications and dressings, annually, replacing what's expired. And break down super packs into smaller kits, keeping spares in strategic locations: vehicles, tool chests, bug-out bags. This layered medicine approach ensures you never carry too little when responding, and never waste bulk when responding in tight spaces. One trap many fall into: over-reliance on big kits without basic knowledge. A kit is only as good as your ability to use it. Learn how to bandage, stitch, clean wounds, splint, and treat shock so those supplies don't sit idle when you need them most. Once your medical layer is secure, the next dimension is mobility under blackout: how to move, see, and operate when lighting fails. That's when the next tool becomes essential. High-capacity LED lanterns and bulk flashlights you can buy at Costco, offering hours of light with few power draws. Number 5. Repair materials. Repair materials don't stand out in your survival kit, but they'll save your kit when everything else fails. In a blackout, every leak, tear, or broken joint is a potential disaster. That's where bulk repair supplies, duct tape, heavy adhesives, patch kits become lifesavers. You want enough to patch a roof, seal drafts, repair gear, even rebuild tools temporarily. At Costco, their adhesives and tape section holds bulk rolls from Duck brand duct tape to heavy-duty shipping tape packs. For example, Costco sells a heavy-duty shipping tape 8-1 pack, which becomes highly useful in a crisis. A single pack that's $10, $15 in normal times might double in cost or vanish once cold weather panic strikes. These materials operate on a simple chain reaction: damage, exposure, and failure. A crack in siding invites cold air in, a tear in a tarp lets wind in, a broken pipe joint floods your gear. But a quick patch with duct tape, silicone sealant, or repair epoxy turns chaos into stability without waiting for tools or parts. That's why prep lists always include tape, adhesives, epoxy, wire, patch kits, and spare parts, multiplying your resilience margin. When you choose repair materials, go for durability. Waterproof duct tape, flexible silicone adhesive, aluminum repair patches, self-fusing silicone tape, and small metal brackets are ideal. Store them in organized kits, one in your base, one in your vehicle, and one in your go bag. Include extra blades, mixing sticks, and sealant nozzles. That redundant repair kit approach means a failure in one area doesn't cascade into another. Use them proactively. After a storm, inspect your shelter for small breaches and seal them immediately. Patch small rips in plastic sheeting or insulation before they widen. Reinforce window frames before the cold intensifies. Over time, applying patches early saves both energy and bigger fixes later. In field use, repair kits become your toolbox. Seal a broken pipe, patch a jacket, repair your pack, or juri jing, a broken tool handle. That flexibility gives you mobility and confidence. Many well-prepared people call repair materials their silent first defense because they avert emergencies before escalation. With repair capability secured, you preserve your other resources: food, heat, water longer. Next, we'll shift focus to your final essential: light and power tools you can stock at Costco now, but will be golden when darkness falls. Number 6. Bulk dry goods. Bulk dry goods are the backbone of any blackout-resilient pantry. When power fails, refrigerators die, and fresh food loses viability. But stacks of rice, beans, oats, pasta, sugar, and flour held in sealed containers keep delivering calories for months or even years. Costco is a prime source for this. Their bulk-size staples allow you to store massive calorie reserves at cost-effective rates. In fact, prepping guides frequently highlight Costco as a top source for bulk sizes of pantry staples and shelf-stable foods, for just that reason. Let's talk numbers. A 25 lac, 11.3 kilograms, bag of white rice or long-grain rice might cost around $15, $20 at wholesale clubs. When that becomes your daily driver in a blackout, each dollar spent yields thousands of meals. Because dry goods don't spoil quickly when kept dry and sealed, those calories sit and wait until you need them. And unlike canned goods, they cost less per calorie and are lighter to transport. The secret is packaging and rotation. Use food-grade buckets or mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. Store them in cool, dry locations, rotate older stock into your everyday cooking, and keep backups in separate bins. Break bulk containers into smaller, usable units that preserves freshness and reduces wastage when you open a pack. Variety is also critical. Don't just stock grains. Include legumes, lentils, beans, pastas, dry milk powder, instant potatoes, wheat berries, dehydrated vegetables, and sugar. These form the nutritional and caloric foundation of your blackout diet. Together, they let you make soups, stews, porridges, and even baking without relying on perishables. Many bulk dry goods kits sold at wholesale clubs mirror this combination across multiple staples. One major benefit: morale stability. When fresh food fails and hunger strikes, having a jar of rice or beans you can cook brings a psychological boost. You still have agency, you still have tools, you can eat. That matters. Once your dry goods vault is locked, your next need is energy conversion, cooking, warming, and rehydrating without grid power. That's when your stored calories become usable. Next, we'll cover backup cook systems and power-efficient heat gear so your food doesn't sit idle but fuels your survival. Number 7. Dehydrated foods. When the power fails and fresh food disappears, dehydrated foods become one of your most reliable survival tools. These foods are engineered to last longer than typical provisions because moisture is removed, making them lightweight, shelf-stable, and easy to store. In fact, Costco offers emergency food kits combining freeze-dried and dehydrated meals. For example, their ReadyWise bucket includes a mix of both to stretch shelf life. Dehydrated items can include fruits, vegetables, meats, soups, and sauces. They're designed to be rehydrated with water and restore much of their original structure. Compared to frozen or fresh, they use far less space, weight, and energy to preserve. This makes them ideal for blackout prep and long-term food storage. Price is a key factor. A freeze-dried divided by dehydrated meal kit from Costco, like the ReadyWise 150-serving bucket, lists around $79.99 USD, delivering 25,280 calories across entrees, breakfasts, and drink mixes with a 25-year shelf life. That means roughly $0.53 per serving in that kit, a strong value for emergency calories, especially when traditional food sources vanish. Of course, building your own dehydrated stock may allow even lower per meal cost, especially if you dehydrate at home. To get the most from dehydrated foods, store them in airtight, light-blocking containers with oxygen absorbers. Keep them cool and dry. A damaged package or breach kills shelf life faster than age. Also, once opened, use small batches, reseal tightly, and consume before moisture creeps in. One common mistake: relying only on a single type of dehydrated food. Diversity matters. Combine grains, proteins, vegetables, seasonings, and even fruit snacks. That way your blackout menu stays tolerable rather than monotonous. Another tip: test rehydration methods before a crisis. Some meals require hot water, some cold, some need stirring, others steeping. Knowing how each pouch behaves means no surprises when the lights go out. Dehydrated foods also pair well with your other supplies: bulk dry goods, emergency food buckets, dehydrated veggies. These blend to form full meals even when fresh produce is gone. Once your food matrix is secured, the next frontier is efficient cooking under zero or low power. Because having food is one thing, being able to cook or rehydrate it reliably in a blackout is another. Next, we'll dig into low-energy cook systems and heat management gear that bring your dehydrated stores to life. Number 8. Power banks. When blackout hits, your smartphone, radio, or GPS device suddenly becomes your most valuable survival tool, but none of them matter if the battery's dead. That's why power banks aren't just accessories, they're lifelines. In a blackout, having multiple high-capacity power banks can mean the difference between being silent in the dark and staying connected, informed, and safe. In normal times, you might grab a 10,000 milliamp hour or 20,000 milliamp hour bank for between $15 to $40 depending on brand and features. But during warning periods or severe weather, those same power banks often sell out or spike in price. Locking one in early can guarantee you access to portable energy when others are scrambling. Power banks are designed to store electrical energy and deliver it to your devices when you need it. In a blackout, they enable continuous phone operation, allowing you to call for help, check maps, follow news, or use emergency apps. Many backup and emergency planning guides also place portable chargers on their must-have lists for power outage survival, but not all power banks are equal. For survival use, prioritize these features. Capacity, MAA, or Y, high enough to recharge your essential devices multiple times. Multiple output ports, USB-WA, USB-WC, possibly DC. Pass-through charging so you can charge devices while the bank itself is charging. Durable build, including protection circuits, overload, heat, short circuit, solar recharge capability, or external input for off-grid topping up. Test your power bank in advance. See how many full charges it gives your phone, how it handles simultaneous charging, and how long it holds a charge when unused. Knowing the real-world performance beats relying on marketing labels, especially during a crisis. Also, rotate your banks like your food and medicines. Even lithium batteries degrade over time, especially under heat. Mark each with a purchase date, test it every few months, and replace or supplement when the capacity drops noticeably. In a blackout scenario, deploy power banks strategically. One in your survival kit, one in your vehicle, one by your bedside. That way, wherever you are, you've got a fallback. Use low power modes, airplane mode, and minimal screen brightness to stretch each charge further. With your devices powered, your path forward is clearer. Next, we'll transition to multi-port solar chargers and battery systems that amplify what your power banks can do during extended outages, so your connectivity never goes dark. When the grid fails, the shelves empty, and the cold sets in, what you've stored is all that stands between you and panic. You don't need a billionaire bunker or overpriced gear to be ready. Just smart choices, made early. These simple items from Costco and Dollar Tree aren't nice-to-haves. They're the quiet difference between comfort and chaos when the lights go out. Because at the moment that matters, it's not about brands, it's about what works. So if you found even one item here that made you think, I need to grab that before the next storm, then this channel just did its job. But there's more where that came from. Every week, we break down smart prepping, not fear-mongering. Real tactics, real gear, real strategies that keep you ahead, not just afloat. So hit that subscribe button. Because of the next blackout, won't send a warning, and when it hits, you'll be ready.